Everybody, this is Raul Ramirez of the Catch Wrestling Alliance, where our goal here is to help you elevate your grappling, and together we keep real wrestling alive. Thank you very much for joining me. So whether you're live or not, just go. Let's just get through the let's get through the announcements first. Okay, so it's already like nearing Christmas time, so our UCLA classes have finished already. They'll be basically done for the rest of the year, and we won't be back until maybe the second week of January. So if you do have access to the university gym, we start up, I think it's like actually the 13th, but that Monday is our catch wrestling class, followed by Chinese kickboxing class, followed by another class where we put it all together. We just call it MMA, right? Because it's all mixed. But that would be a great block of time if you have access to the gym to just show up and train for it'll be like 3.5 hours straight. But I also teach throughout the week as well. But I think that'd be an ideal time. If not, and you're in LA and you don't have access to the university, you can train with us at Fight Science MMA. And if you're on the East Coast, train with my good buddy John, like the most legit guy out there. John Strickland, American Hook Wrestling in South Carolina. And if you're nowhere near us at all and you're not planning on visiting us, then you can always join like the Catch Wrestling Alliance Academy. That's on our website. You can also get one-off courses, so you don't have to join the academy. We have some great ones. We have one that my good buddy John Strickland did. We also have some that work on, say, like a lot of you who are listening, you actually do more jiu-jitsu, right? So because jiu-jitsu is way more accessible. It's like everywhere. So we have a few courses up there that I did. They were just one-off ones where they focus on passing the guard. This is stuff that I use constantly. I use a lot of these techniques just a couple of weeks ago at the Pan American Jiu-Jitsu Championship. So they work, and they work against like strangers who are skilled. So you can use these principles. You don't have to do it exactly this. Actually, that's like the goal of any kind of teacher, where it's like, I want to show you some principles so that you don't necessarily have to do it the same way that we do it, right? You can shape it and modify it to your situation. So those are the Pressure Passing Volume 1 and 2 series that we have up there on our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. And if you just want to support us, you can become a member of our YouTube channel. And also, if you want to if you have something that you want to teach, you can also get a 30-day free trial of Kajabi, and that's like linked in our in the show notes, right? So there's all that. So I think those are all the announcements that we got. So we can totally get to the subject that just happened, an hour or a couple hours ago. So Olympic gold medalist Helen Maroulis, she just competed in the blue belt no-gi jiu-jitsu division at the IBJJF no-gi worlds, right? So I kind of wanted to talk about it because I feel like she's doing everything, or she's approaching jiu-jitsu in the right way. One of the main reasons why I did want to kind of talk about it is because she felt like she had to go on her social media and address like all these people commenting saying that, oh, she's an Olympic gold medalist, so she shouldn't be competing in the blue belt division, and she should be doing some higher belt or black, whatever. It doesn't matter. People were just complaining about the whole blue belt division thing. I think these people don't quite understand, especially I think they probably don't understand freestyle wrestling, and they definitely don't understand the IBJJF. Anybody who's like listened to this podcast for a long time, you've heard me kind of complain about actually both, right? Both freestyle and IBJJF competition, they have a ton of rules. So what have we seen over the years? Like flow grappling in particular, like they've even held events where they got like the best American wrestlers to do a no-gi, like basically like a no-gi match with some of our best guys doing no-gi. And what happened every time? The wrestler lost, right? The wrestler got submitted, right? So it's not to say that wrestling is bad or anything like that. Like many people might just jump to that conclusion. That's not the conclusion you need to jump to. But the main thing is that like these two people come from very different worlds, and even a lot of people doing jujitsu, they would tell you that, you know, even IBJJF, you have to train for it. Like you have to train in those rules, right? Because they even have like stuff that aren't points, right? They have these things called advantages, which I call them kind of like half points, because it's not, they don't give you a point, but if you're in an advantageous position that's not an actual like position that gets you points, they still give you an advantage. So it's like a little mark on your score that, like, say if you end up tied and if you have an advantage, you'll win, right? So similar to, well, not similar, but you know, like freestyle rules, they have things where it's like they definitely want the match to end right at the end of that time limit. So then they'll have things like, oh, whoever scored last or who scored the highest point move last will win. So they have all this, all these different things. So, so Helen is coming from that perspective. So the freestyle rules perspective, you can get points for pushing someone out of the circle. That's not a thing you get points for in jiu-jitsu, especially like, you know, actually in any event, you don't really, at least not that I know of, right? So we have all these highlights right from ADCC, and where people keep grappling even once they go off the mat and stuff like that. So that's not really a thing. So and then also freestyle doesn't have submissions, which should be obvious. So like for Helen to just jump into a jiu-jitsu tournament, just like all the other big time wrestlers before her, she could have just gone into some higher belt division and just got submitted real fast, right? So let's kind of so take that into perspective. It's like you're going into a completely new rule set. So you would want to not necessarily start, of course she's not starting off at white belt, but the rule in IBJJF is for people with wrestling experience to start at blue, right? Or actually, even if you've done like pro MMA and stuff like that, you have to start in blue. You have to start at blue, right? So, um, like, so my whole point is that she's doing it right. And what was the result? She didn't submit everyone. She did get one submission, right? But the rest she won by points, it seems. At least according to the Instagram of Flow, right? So it wasn't like she totally just like destroyed, like took everyone down real fast and submitted them. No, it's like, and that's what people should have expected to see by someone doing it the right way. Someone like just dipping their toe in the water and then trying to figure out the rules because they're different, right? And kind of the same thing like goes with like, so even in the old catch wrestling days, it wasn't like they weren't negotiating, like, so like when you had these, so what I'm talking about specifically is like they'd have these nights where like some big time judo guy or jiu-jitsu guy from Japan would come, and they would have these matches, and they would agree like, oh, we'll do one match like where you wear the jacket, and these other basic rules, like basic things, but like IBJJF, just like freestyle, they have tons of rules. So you can't just like jump from one to the other and expect to do well. Especially like going from say like jiu-jitsu to Olympic freestyle, like not that you're gonna get pinned or anything like that, but you could get outpointed easily. And so that's what like I would want people to, like a lot of the haters, to just take those things into consideration. Of course they're not, you know, everyone has like their opinion, their incorrect opinion, right? But I personally feel like Helen is really approaching it the proper way, where it's like, yeah, she go ahead and start off at blue. She did fine. I mean, she won, of course. She got the gold medal, but she didn't just go in and destroy everyone, submit everyone. Um, so like now she has the experience of competing, and actually the people have to know that the people who are competing at IBJJF pans and worlds, they're some of the best, right? So it's um so she could have gotten caught or whatever. So and I have a feeling, so like we've had experience with other NCAA wrestlers who have done IBJJF competitions. They even at purple belt, we had some of our best NCAA champions get submitted or just and not win. So um that's why I think building up like your base, like the way Helen is. I'm sure we're probably going to even see Amit Elor. I think she's already a purple belt, so she's probably still focused on getting those gold medals in freestyle. So we probably won't necessarily see her competing, but if Helen continues, I'm sure they're probably just going to give her a purple belt right away. But I think purple belt should be fine for her, but she has to again like work on the submission holds and trying to basically get the catch wrestling going in there, right? So um, where she can mix her wrestling more efficiently into like ending with submissions, and also that doing her wrestling in a way that doesn't get her caught in submission. So that's one of the most beneficial things of catch wrestling. But either way, I think she's training at all these different jiu-jitsu schools, and she's got her own network already. So, best of luck to her. But I think she's totally doing it the right way. And all the haters, like, of course, they're all wrong, like always. Um, like, yeah, we even get some weird comments on some of our videos where it's like doing some spar. Actually, there was a recent one that just popped into my mind where so it was one of our shorts. I was showing some of the people training. They're just sparring, like not even too fast or too intense. And then someone commented like, "I don't know if this would work on the street." And it's like, well, we weren't on the streets, and we were just in the gym on mats and doing wrestling. So it's not like we were doing some self-defense training or anything like that. So yeah, people just get these weird ideas, and even on our the Kung Fu channel that we got, Kung Fu Culture, there was one where it's like we showed actual like security camera footage of a woman. She was a member of the Chinese SWAT team, and there was some guy out on the street, and he had a machete, or just at least a huge knife. Um, and so she runs up behind him, grabs his wrist, and she does like a wrist lock throw. Takes and like it makes the machete just fly out of the guy's hand. She takes him down and she subdues him, and then other SWAT officers go and arrest the guy. But so then we did like a breakdown of that move because it is like something that happened in real life, like literally on the streets. And then you still get some comments where people will say like, "Oh well, you did it in the studio, so like even a kid can get it." It's like, well, the SWAT officer had to learn at one point. She's not learning on random. She didn't learn. They didn't tell her how to do it right then and there before she did it on that guy on the street. So it's like, yeah, you have to start somewhere. You have to build up your base of knowledge. So going back to Helen Maroulis, this is what she's doing, and so she's building up this experience. She's going to get better at submissions. So she only got one submission this time. I have a feeling like her division, especially IBJJF Worlds, each division is probably pretty packed, and she's not like she doesn't have she's not an outlier weight where it's like so huge or so tiny. So I'm sure she probably had like maybe 4 matches to win. So it appears that only one of those matches ended in a submission for her. So again, so she still has a lot to learn. So she's building up this base. She's training. So she did a great job. She won, and so she'll only get better from here. So ultimately, so like people who are doing freestyle or collegiate like folk style wrestling, don't feel too bad if you go into jiu-jitsu competition and you lose, right? Because if you're doing something like IBJJF, it has tons of points, tons of rules. It's not some kind of submission only match, right? So like it is easier to lose in IBJJF, right? Someone gets an advantage on you, even though there's no point, right? They don't score a point, but they'll still win if you're tied and they have an advantage, right? So there's a lot of little details that go into competing in something like the IBJJF, right? So you kind of have to get used to that environment, that rule set. So say even a 10th Planet, like a jiu-jitsu school that was really anti-IBJJF, still a lot of 10th Planet schools compete in so we even have like the was it 10th Planet San Diego who um Richard Martinez, they call him Boogie or Boogeyman, said he just destroyed uh his black belt division at IBJJF Pans, or I think Worlds, right? Last year, doing rubber guard stuff, but again, he has to do what's legal, right? So there's all these different things that are illegal in IBJJF. So it's like so in a way, like someone coming from the 10th Planet School, like that's more geared towards sub only. If you want to compete in IBJJF, you have to train to not get disqualified, right? So there's all these different things that went into Helen's gold medal winning performance. So no one should like take away anything like from that. Like it, like even though they're saying, like if someone were to say, which I'm sure it's already there, like on Flow Grappling's Instagram, where they're like, "Oh, Olympic gold medalists, of course they're going to win the gold medal at a blue belt level," or like, no, she totally could have gotten submitted or outpointed, right? Because it is pretty easy to lose. Um, so, um, so hopefully this kind of helped you at least get a better understanding. And I think she's totally doing it right. She's totally taking the right approach. Kind of like get your feet wet and build up your base of submission holds. She got that guillotine from Mount. Um, I'm sure you're not going to get someone. I'm sure that's my and hopefully I don't sound like a hater or whatever. Like, but I'm sure she, like, say if she was the brown belt division or something, she wouldn't have gotten that submission. Um, just it seems like it was a mistake, a blue belt mistake that got that woman ended up in that submission and got caught and ended up tapping out. So yeah, we're gonna see what like if Helen ends up getting some kind of like submission hold that she does really well against everyone. Hopefully that's what happens. Like say like Michael Pixley, right? So like he's from Daisy Fresh doing like his best to blend in his amateur wrestling, and he's able to end a lot of his matches with the darts because he uses the 3/4 Nelson, and then he really quickly transitions from 3/4 into a darce. It's really great. So yeah, go ahead and check him out. Hopefully maybe she goes to train with Pixley out at Daisy Fresh in Indiana. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So just want people to know that like competing at these higher level things or these kind of big federation things, it's not as easy as it seems. And so if she were to do some kind of maybe local tiny thing, then maybe that's something different. But no, she chose to compete at the hardest blue belt tournament for point jiu-jitsu. So give her all the credit. She's doing it right. All right. So, thank you for checking it out. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask. If you're watching this after we recorded it, then feel free to write comments below. You can write all your hate comments. Or you can come train with us at UCLA, the university here in Los Angeles, or Fight Science MMA. You can also become a member of our YouTube channel, or you can become a member of our online academy, or you can just buy one of our online courses that say stuff that I used, like the pressure pass system stuff. I use it all the time to pass people's guards, and it was one of the things that helped me to rack up all those points, passing people's guards at the recent Pan American tournament. Um, yeah, so stuff works. So go ahead and check it out. All right, so maybe we'll keep this one short. So I kind of wanted to get something out because Helen just won, and I really think she's approaching it the right way. So, you know, so you feel free to comment or not. Okay, so together we're gonna keep real wrestling alive. Hopefully all this helps you to elevate your grappling. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.